Fortnite just dropped one of their biggest content updates ever, and this is everything you need to know. First up, we have all the Attack on Titan gear. We have the ODM gear, the Thunder Spears, and the new Scout Regiment Footlockers. Now, the ODM gear pretty much functions like a grappler, but it has the added bonus of when you get close to a target, you then do 70 damage with the swords and then bounce back. So this is actually looking a lot stronger than grapplers for fighting, but I would say it's weaker than grapplers for the movement. It feels really fluid, it feels really fun to use, but you do run out of charge relatively quickly. That's how it works. Instead of having like 10 uses like a grappler, it's kind of like the jetpack. It has a gauge, and the more you use the ODM gear, the more it runs out. Now, the Thunder Spears, these are insane. You basically shoot these like a rocket, then you pull the tag on it, it will then explode, and it does damage through walls. It does 70 damage when it hits. Don't worry, this is not in competitive. The Thunder Spear is not in competitive. The ODM gear, however, is. So we have even more mobility in competitive now with the Katana. If you want to find the Thunder Spears or you want to find the ODM gear, the guaranteed way to find them is with the Scout Regiment Footlocker. It's basically like Attack on Titan chest. It drops all the gear for Attack on Titan gear, but you can also find the ODM gear as floor loot and in chest. This is adding a lot of mobility to the game. With the Attack on Titans update, we obviously have a whole bunch of new cosmetics. We have 3 new skins. We have Eren, Levi, and Mikasa. They also have back blings. They have different sprays, a whole bunch of cool stuff. And if you have the battle pass, you can unlock Eren. There's a bunch of new quests in the game now, so you don't have to buy it. We also had some massive balance changes. A lot of these are going to heavily affect competitive as well. There has been a new rare kinetic blade being added to the game. What that means is instead of the epic rarity, it only has 2 charges, not 3, but it's much easier to find. This means that if you're currently not getting a lot of kinetic blades, maybe you're not dropping at one of the Japanese POIs or the new mega POIs and getting the kinetic blade guaranteed, now you have a much higher chance of getting it. This is obviously adding so much more mobility to the game. We now have 2 types of kinetic blades and ODM gear in competitive. Pretty much everyone is going to have at least one type of mobility item. We also had to reduce the max headshot damage of the mythic Havoc Pump Shotgun. It no longer does 250, but don't panic, it still does over 200. I believe it does 210 or 215 headshot damage. Now, it's harder to hit those max damage headshots, but you can still one-shot headshot in everything except for zero builds. Obviously, in zero builds, with the overshield of 250, you are not going to be able to do a one-shot headshot with this item anymore. Also, they reduced the accuracy and hip fire rate of the mythic overclocked pulse rifle. Thank you, Epic. I mean, I like having a strong item that is worth fighting for over at the new island that spawns, but the mythic overclocked pulse rifle was ridiculous. This, I think, is the strongest AR we have ever had in the game, and that's saying a lot. I'm talking stronger than the original Legendary Scar, stronger than Sky's AR, stronger than the original AK. Like, this thing is insane, especially in team game modes. Also, they said in trios and squads, they reduced the number of mythic overclocked pulse rifles dropped by capturing a rifting in POI. So now, if you guys didn't know before, however many players you had in your party, if you went as trios, squads, you would get that many pulse rifles. Now in trios and squads, it looks like you only get 2 for trios and 3 for squads, which I think is going to cause some interesting issues in friend groups. I mean, I feel like it's going to help having 1 less pulse rifle, but if I'm versing a squad where they have 3 of them, it's still pretty OP, and now there's just one guy who's just going to have to be relegated who just doesn't get the pulse rifle, but it still drops 2 in duos and it still drops 1 in solos, so it's not really going to affect competitive that much. Also, they did say that in trios and squads, they reduced the number of mythic Havoc Pump Shotguns found inside the vault. I imagine this is the same as well. Instead of dropping 3 for trios and 4 for squads, it's going to be 2 for trios and 3 for squads. Again, now one player is not going to get the mythic Havoc Pump either. You're just basically identifying who in your group is the beta. They also unvaulted 2 items. They unvaulted the dirt bike. This is only in public matches, though it's not in competitive. And they unlocked the porta bunker in zero builds. Now, I absolutely love that change. It would have been amazing if they did this like 4 days ago before DreamHack, $250,000 no build tourney. And I absolutely love porta bunkers in the competitive no build meta. It's just having some kind of permanent structure that you can throw down to just reduce that zone RNG by so much is amazing. Obviously, if you have them though, you can still heavy snipe them. You can still spray them out. You can still blow them up. They're not just like a permanent massive base, they're just enough cover to make it, in my opinion, a lot more skillful and a lot more fun. So I'm really excited to see the future zero build tournaments like the Trio Victory Cups, and we also still have DreamHack Sweden, DreamHack Dallas, and eventually the $2 million Saudi land coming up. So if Epic is making the Porta Bunker a staple of zero builds competitive, I am a huge fan of that. Outside of this, we did get one last major change that wasn't included in the patch notes. The jellyfishing augment has been disabled. No longer are we gonna have gigantic jelly bases, but if you've been watching competitive at all, you've been watching the heal off meta, we still have Pizza Party in the game, and we still have the current zones. That's the biggest issue a lot of people are upset with. Why have they not reverted zones? Why have they not changed zones? If you like the new zones, that's awesome. And again, I'm making the best of it. I'm watching all the tournaments. I'm still finding the fun in it, but let's be honest, it's not the best meta we've ever had. Mid-game zones move so incredibly slowly now. Anyone can easily rotate, and then end games just go in the blink of an eye. Everyone's just mad dashing a zone. No one's fighting, and then it leads to like a 20-way heal off where people are just sitting in boxes, not even fighting. It's fair to see why people don't like that too much. Now, all hope is not lost. I know FNCS starts in a few days, and I personally thought they wouldn't make major changes to something like zones mid FNCS, but I'm seeing a lot of rumors going around on Twitter that points towards the fact that there is something being discussed in the closed competitive Discord. If you don't know what this is, basically it's a Discord that has a whole bunch of big members from the community to give feedback in, and Epic chats with them about upcoming changes. And it looks like there's been a bunch of rumors and a bunch of whispers that they are talking about zone changes. It's just taking a while to be added. Obviously, I cannot verify that. Take that with a grain of salt. If zones don't get changed, please don't come at me saying that I promised you zone changes. I'm just saying that I'm seeing a few things here and there that are really pointing towards the zones being changed. And I know personally from working with them in the past on the broadcast, Epic don't like heal-offs. I don't know how we've gone to the point where we have one of the craziest heal-off metas we've ever seen, because Epic, for the most part, really don't like heal-off metas. So they've just nerfed the fishing augment. It looks like they have made some changes to the pizza party time. It looks like almost nobody is getting it anywhere near as much as they used to. I've been watching scrims all morning and almost no one is getting the pizza perk. It points towards the fact they don't like the current meta and they want to get rid of heal-offs, and the main thing leading to the heal-offs are the zones. So I'm very hopeful there will be zone changes in the future, but I can't promise them, unfortunately. We just have to hope.